Welcome to the mini story for the emotionally intelligent husbands lesson. Let's get started. This story is told in the present tense right now. Here we go. Bob is a newlywed. He and his wife Kathy have been married only 2 months. Unfortunately, Bob is an authoritarian husband. Every day he tells Kathy, "Cook my food! Clean this house! Serve me, woman!" Bob feels he is entitled to be served like a king by his wife. Kathy is very sweet. She's a very sensitive person, and she emotes strongly. She always shows her true feelings. Kathy had a strict upbringing. Her mom told her to always obey her husband. Since she has strong moral fiber, Kathy tries to do what her mom taught. But every day she becomes more sad because of Bob. Finally, she has had enough. She yells at Bob with righteous indignation. "Shut up, you pig! I want a divorce!" Bob is so shocked, he has a heart attack and dies. But after he is dead, nobody mourns. Kathy takes his life insurance money and now is very happy. The end. Okay, let's start back to the beginning. All right. Bob is a newlywed. Has Bob been married for a long time? Well, no, he has not. He is a newlywed. Has his wife been married for a long time? Well, of course not. They both got married at the same time. Not a long time. They are both newlyweds. They've been married a short time. How long have they been married? Well, they've been married only 2 months. So they are newlyweds because they have been married less than 1 year. So Bob is a newlywed, and of course Kathy is a newlywed. They are both newlyweds, using it as a noun. Unfortunately, Bob is an authoritarian husband. Is Bob a tolerant husband? No. He's not tolerant. He doesn't care about his wife's opinions or other people's opinions. Is Bob a flexible husband?
No, he's dead.
No, he's not flexible. He won't change at
not
all. Is Bob a tough boss? Is he that kind of husband?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. He's an authoritarian husband. Is Bob like a dictator? Yes, that's right. Bob is an authoritarian husband. He's like a dictator. He's like a strong ruler over his wife. Bob is an authoritarian husband. Is Bob an authoritarian father? Well, no, he's not an authoritarian father because...
Well, he's not an authoritarian father because he doesn't have children. He doesn't have a child. He doesn't have a...
They have no children.
They have
Bob
no
is an
children.
authoritarian husband. He's an authoritarian husband. Is Kathy an authoritarian wife?
No.
Well,
she
no,
doesn't.
Kathy's not an
She's-
authoritarian wife.
she's
The
very
opposite,
nice.
actually. Bob, however, is an authoritarian husband. And every day he tells Kathy, "Cook my food! Clean this house! Serve me, woman!" Bob feels he is entitled to be served like a king by his wife. We're using entitled here as a verb, actually. Entitlement is the noun, but to be entitled can be used as a verb or an adjective. So Bob feels he is entitled. I am entitled to be served like a king. So, in this case, it's not a noun. Bob feels he is entitled. It means he feels he has the power. He should have the power to be served by his wife. Does he feel he is entitled to be served by strangers?
No. He doesn't feel he's entitled to be served by a stranger. Bob feels he is entitled to be served by a king, by his wife.
No, he doesn't feel like he's entitled to be served like by strangers. Does he feel he is entitled to be served by his own mother? Well, I don't know, maybe, but maybe not. We're not sure, really. Does he feel he is entitled to be served by his wife?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. He feels he is entitled to be served by his wife. Does Kathy feel she is entitled to be served by Bob? No. Kathy does not feel she's entitled to be served by Bob. It's the opposite. Bob feels he is entitled, he has the power, he should have the power to be served by his wife, Kathy. And Kathy, however, is a very sweet wife. She's very sensitive, and she emotes strongly. Does Kathy show her emotions?
Yes, she does. She shows her emotion. She always shows all her true feelings.
Well, that's right. Yes, she emotes strongly. Does she express her feelings?
Yes, she
Yes,
always
she
shows
does. She
her
emotes
true
strongly.
feelings.
She shows her feelings a lot.
True feelings.
Does she emote only anger?
No, he doesn't feel
No. That's
only
not true.
anger.
She doesn't emote only anger. She
Only
emotes
anger.
all her emotions.
All
She
her
shows
emotes.
all her emotions.
All her
She
emotes.
expresses all her emotions. She emotes strongly, and she emotes everything. She shows all her emotions. So Kathy is sensitive and she emotes strongly. She always shows her true feelings. Kathy had a strict upbringing, however. Her mom told her to always obey her husband. Was Kathy's upbringing relaxed? No, her parents were not relaxed. She had a strict, a very tough upbringing. Was Kathy's upbringing conservative? Very conservative. Yeah, I think you would describe that as conservative. Her mom was very old-fashioned, very conservative. She had a strict upbringing. Kathy had a strict upbringing. Did Bob have a strict upbringing? Well, no, not really. Bob was spoiled when he was a child. His parents gave him everything. They served him. They let him do anything he wanted. So he was kind of a spoiled brat. But Kathy, however, had a very tough upbringing, a very strict upbringing. Because her mom told her, always obey your parents. Always obey your future husband. The good thing about Kathy is she has strong moral fiber. She always tries to do what is right, what is correct, what her mom taught her to do. Does Kathy have strong moral fiber?
Yes, she does. Kathy has strong moral fibers. Kathy has strong moral fibers. Strong moral fibers.
Well, yes, she does. Of course, she has strong moral fiber. Does Kathy try to do what is right? Yes, she does. She has strong moral fiber. She tries to do what is right. Would Kathy steal money from someone?
No, she
No, of
doesn't
course not.
steal money
Kathy
for
has strong moral
someone,
fiber. She would never steal from another person.
from
Would
another
Kathy
person.
try to kill another person?
No, she
No,
doesn't.
Kathy has strong moral fiber. She would never
Doesn't
try to kill or hurt someone else. She has strong moral fiber. Why does Kathy obey Bob? Well, because her mom told her she should, Kathy thinks she must have strong moral fiber and therefore must obey Bob. But finally she changes her mind, right? Finally she yells at him because she is sad every day because of Bob. So finally she yells at him with righteous indignation. Does she talk to him quietly? No, she yells, of course. Does she yell with a lot of anger? Yes, that's right, she does. She's very angry when she yells. She's indignant. She has indignation. She yells at him with indignation, with anger. What kind of anger? Is it anger from being hurt? Not exactly, no. It's righteous indignation. She feels Bob is wrong and she is right. Bob is doing bad things and Kathy is a good person, so she feels righteous indignation. She has righteous indignation. She yells at him with righteous indignation. When she yells with righteous indignation, what does she say?
Well, she said, "Shut up, you pig. I want a divorce."
She says, "Shut up, you pig. I want a divorce." Is Bob surprised by Kathy's righteous indignation? Yes, he is. He's very surprised by her righteous indignation. So surprised, he has a heart attack. And then he dies. But after Bob is dead, nobody mourns. Does anybody feel sad because Bob is dead? Well, no. Nobody feels sad. Nobody mourns him. Does Kathy mourn him? No, Kathy doesn't mourn him. She doesn't feel sad after he dies. She thinks he's a pig, right? He's been a bad man, so she does not mourn him. She does not cry. She does not wear black. She does not feel really sad. She does not mourn him. Do Bob's friends mourn him? No, Bob's friends don't mourn him either because he doesn't have any friends. Nobody likes Bob. So Bob is not mourned by his friends because he doesn't have friends. And Kathy doesn't mourn Bob either. Nobody mourns Bob. Nobody feels sad for Bob after he's dead. What happens next? Does Kathy have a good life? Well, as a matter of fact, she does. She gets money from Bob's life insurance, and now she is rich and free and very happy. All right, good job. One more time. This time I'll pause. Please repeat the key phrases after me. Now, don't just repeat. Copy my pronunciation, copy my rhythm, copy my tone, everything. Copy my emotion. Here we go. Bob is a newlywed. Good. Bob is a newlywed. Okay, very good. He and his wife, Kathy, have been married only 2 months. Unfortunately, Bob is an authoritarian husband. Okay, good. Unfortunately, Bob is an authoritarian husband. Good. Every day he yells at Kathy. He says, "Cook my food, clean this house, serve me, woman." Bob feels he is entitled to be served by his wife. Okay, good. A little bit difficult. Bob feels he is entitled to be served by his wife. Okay, good. Bob feels he is entitled to be served by his wife. Kathy, however, is a very sweet wife. She is very sensitive and she emotes strongly. Okay, very good. She is very sensitive and she emotes strongly. Good. She is very sensitive and she emotes strongly. She always shows her true feelings. Kathy had a strict upbringing. Good. Kathy had a strict upbringing. Very good. Her mom taught her to always obey her parents and always obey her future husband. Since she has strong moral fiber, Kathy tries to follow her mom's teaching. Okay, very good. Since she has strong moral fiber, Kathy tries to follow her mom's teaching. Okay, very good. But every day she becomes more sad because of Bob. Finally, she yells at Bob with righteous indignation. Okay, very good. Finally, she yells at Bob with righteous indignation. Okay, great. She yells with righteous indignation, "Shut up, you pig! I want a divorce." Bob is so shocked, he has a heart attack and dies. But after he is dead, nobody mourns. Okay, good. But after he is dead, nobody mourns. Okay, great. But after he is dead, nobody mourns. Kathy takes his life insurance money, and now she is rich and free and very happy. Okay, very nice. Use your pause button when you do this. Use your pause button often. But now, please use your pause button and tell all of the story. Tell the entire story yourself, out loud. Say it where you can hear it. You don't need to remember every word. It's not a memory test. Just try to use the vocabulary correctly. That's the important part. You can change the details, doesn't matter. Try to remember the vocabulary, try to use it correctly. That's what is important. Okay, great. If this is difficult for you, listen to it many, many times before you try speaking. It's okay. Listen to it as many times as you want. Listen every day, a few times, for 1 month if necessary. It's okay. Go slow, relax, take your time. After you understand it completely and easily, then, only then, try practicing speaking with your pause button. Okay, good job. Next is the mini story point of view lesson. I will tell the same story using different time frames, different points of view. See you next time. Bye-bye. Okay, welcome to the mini story point of view lesson for emotionally intelligent husbands. Same story. We're going to change the time a little bit. Let's tell the first. Let's tell this story in the past, 20 years ago. 20 years ago. Here we go. 20 years ago, there was a guy named Bob. Bob was a newlywed. He and his wife, Kathy, had been married only 2 months. Unfortunately, Bob was an authoritarian husband. Every day, he would tell Kathy, "Cook my food, clean this house, serve me, woman." Bob felt he was entitled to be served like a king by his wife. Now, his wife, Kathy, was a very sweet wife. She was very sensitive, and she emoted strongly. She always showed her true feelings. Kathy had had a strict upbringing. Her mom had told her to always obey her future husband. Since she had strong moral fiber, Kathy tried to do what her mom had taught. But every day, she became more sad because of Bob. Finally, she yelled at him with righteous indignation. "Shut up, you pig! I want a divorce." Bob was so shocked, he had a heart attack and died. But after he was dead, nobody mourned. Kathy took his life insurance money, and now, today, she is still very rich, free, and happy. Okay, good. Pause. Please go back, listen to that version a few times until you fully understand how it changed. And then pause and tell it yourself. Tell it in the past tense, starting with the phrase 20 years ago. Now, actually, you will notice every verb is not in the past tense. Some verbs are in different tenses. Don't worry about the names of the tenses. Just listen carefully, notice how they change, and then you can pause after each sentence if you need to and repeat, or you can pause after all of the story and try to tell the entire story, beginning with the phrase 20 years ago. All right, let's jump to the future now. I have a new movie idea. It's a science fiction movie, and it's going to be in 2050. And I'm going to tell you about my movie idea. Here we go. In the year 2050, there will be a guy named Bob. Bob will be a newlywed. He and his wife will have been married only 2 months. Unfortunately, Bob will be an authoritarian husband. Every day, he will tell Kathy, "Cook my food, clean this house, serve me, woman." Bob will feel he is entitled to be served like a king by his wife. Now, Kathy will be a very sweet wife. She's going to be very sensitive, and she's going to emote strongly. She'll always show her true feelings. Kathy will have had a strict upbringing. Her mom will have told her to always obey her husband. Since she will have strong moral fiber, Kathy will try to do what her mom taught. But every day, she will become more sad because of Bob. Finally, she's going to yell at him with righteous indignation. "Shut up, you pig! I want a divorce." Bob is going to be so shocked, he will have a heart attack, and then he's going to die. After that, Nobody's going to mourn him. Nobody will mourn Bob. Kathy will take his life insurance money, and then she's going to be very happy. She will be very happy because she'll be free and she'll be rich. All right. Very good. So that obviously is using the future, right? We're talking about the year 2050. Now you notice I sound like I made a mistake there, but actually I started using the present tense and then I switched to using future. That's okay. Actually, in English, sometimes when we talk about the future, sometimes we use the present tense. So actually, in many cases, you can use both. I changed because I wanted to keep using the future tense only, so just to help you remember it. But in fact, when you talk about the future, you can sometimes use the present tense. So don't let that confuse you. All right. Now let's tell it one more time. I'm going to begin the story with the phrase, since 2 months ago. Okay? Since 2 months ago. Starting 2 months ago. Okay. Since 2 months ago, there has been a couple named Bob and Kathy who are newlyweds. Unfortunately, Bob has been an authoritarian husband during these 2 months. Every day he has yelled at Kathy, "Cook my food! Clean this house! Serve me, woman!" Now during this time, this 2 months, Bob has felt he is entitled to be served like a king by his wife. Now Kathy, his wife, she's a very sweet woman. She's very sensitive, and she has always emoted strongly. She has always showed her true feelings to Bob. Kathy, in the past, had a strict upbringing. Her mom told her to always obey her future husband. Now, since she has strong moral fiber, and during this 2 months she has had strong moral fiber, Kathy has tried to do what her mom taught her. But every day she has become more sad because of Bob. Finally, one day, she's sick of it. Finally, one day, she yells at him. And she yells at him with righteous indignation. She says, "Shut up, you pig! I want a divorce." Well, Bob is so shocked he has a heart attack and dies. But after he's dead, nobody mourns. Kathy takes his life insurance money and is now very happy. Okay, you'll notice in that one, I use have had, have gone, right? In the beginning. Whenever I'm talking about during the last 2 months, since 2 months ago, it means starting 2 months ago and continuing all up until now. Anytime I'm talking about something that has continued, that started 2 months ago and has continued until now, I'm using have gone, have had, right? But then I change to the present tense. I say, finally one day. Okay, now I change to the present tense. I could change to the past tense. I could have said, finally one day, she yelled at him, "Shut up, you pig." And then Bob was so shocked, or then I could tell that the rest of the story, the end of the story, could be in the past tense if I say that happened in the past. I decided to tell it in the present tense, meaning I started 2 months ago, I come up until now. The end of the story is told in the present tense. The end of the story is happening, happening recently. But the beginning of the story, I'm talking about what has happened during this whole time, during a period that started in the past 2 months ago and has continued until recently. Okay, again, don't think too much about the grammar terms. You don't need to know present perfect, past perfect. That's not important. What I want you to do is listen many times to each version, pause, go back, listen again, then try to maybe repeat or copy individual sentences, then try to repeat and copy telling all of the story, all of the version, using the beginning phrases. 20 years ago is version number 1. Version number 2, in 2050. And version number 3, since 2 months ago. All right, good luck. See you next time. Bye-bye.